You had told me on the pre-talk, right? Like you make cents on the dollar.
Absolutely.
Break that down, how that works.
Okay, so what that is, when we charge as a fee builder, there are two ways we can charge as a fee builder. Say we have a house that's $200,000. Well, every dollar that's spent, we're going to charge 15 to 20 cents on every dollar.
So 15 to 20% on all $200,000.
Absolutely.
What's up, world? Welcome back to the Tuned In with Tony podcast. And I got my guy, R Dyson Colley, in the building all the way from Texas, about to tell us about how you can build your own home. So when he first told me, I was like, how do you build your own home? Like, you got to do this, you got to have that. So welcome to the show, my guy. Thank you for being here. And my first question is, just tell us about, what do you do?
All right. Well, I'm R Dyson Colley, also known as the Gentleman Builder. And what I am is a residential new construction home builder in the state of Texas. So with that, man, we buy vacant land. We build houses from the ground up. We also teach others how to build houses from the ground up.
Got you. So when you say build houses from the ground up, I'm thinking like, I just bought a house and I'm seeing like these big companies build houses, right? So you're saying an individual person can actually build someone a house legally.
Absolutely. Okay. So what you first have to keep in mind is that each state has their own requirements for being a home builder. Where I am in Texas, there is no license for becoming a home builder, so anyone can build a house. And in my case, I'm what's considered a general contractor for others, but I'm also a home builder for myself, where I just go out, find vacant land, buy it, and then build a house on it.
Okay. Yeah. So in Texas, you said you don't have to have what again?
A license. So you don't have to have a builder's license or general contractor's license to be able to build in Texas.
Got you. So on the show, I love tearing down objecting beliefs and what people may be thinking. So someone's like, okay, well, in Texas, you don't have to have a license, but in Georgia, you got to have a license.
Right.
How do you help people overcome that so that they can still learn this high paid trade?
Well, we provide the information. Keep in mind that because you have different states that have different licensing requirements, it's going to still be on that individual to acquire that license for whatever state you're building in.
Gotcha.
But what we provide as a platform, an educational platform, is the ins and outs, A to Z, of how to get a house built if you're in that space.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we provide.
Gotcha.
Those in Texas, they have it easy because they can just build a house. They just take the course, build a house.
And I like what you said, too, because we're going to give you the information on how you can build a house from the ground up. We're going to talk about fee builders a little bit later, how people can make a lot of money building houses.
Absolutely.
Risk-free. But that due diligence is on them of where they're located. But you guys are going to equip them with the resources and skills of how they can learn how to build a home.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
So my question is, how did you learn how to build a house? Because that still is wild to me. A big old house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, man, I like to tell people I kind of lucked up into home building. I got into real estate about 8-9 years ago, doing fix and flips, wholesale deals, and things of that nature, right? And so as I built my construction crews, I've always wanted to build a house. So I was like, hey, man, listen, let me find some land to build a house on, or whatever the case may be. So I just combined all my construction crews, my best trades. And I say I lucked up on it because where my son went to school at the time, there was a vacant lot right across the street. And so I would pass the lot every day. And I'm like, listen, I have experience, cold calling people to buy houses to flip. So let me use that same strategy on seeing if I could purchase this lot. So I called the lady that owned the lot. She was behind in taxes, about $13,000. I was like, hey, listen, you don't want the liability of taxes. I want this piece of land. Let me pay the taxes off for you. You sell me the land and I can build a house. So she sold me the land. I had a private money investor who gave me the money to actually buy the land. And then I had a separate private money investor who gave me the money for the construction costs. So literally with that first project that I built, the first house that I built, I was $0 out of pocket. And I got the money, bought the land, got the construction financing from my second hard money lender, or my second private money lender, built the house. It took me 8 months to build a house. I was $19,000 over budget, and I only made $3,200.
Okay.
So
live and you learn, though, right?
That was it. I learned how to
But
build a house.
what I like about that is it wasn't even about the money that time, right? It's about
Absolutely.
learning how, but you actually didn't lose money though.
I didn't.
You
I
did
didn't
not
lose at
money.
all. I didn't make a lot, but I didn't lose any.
So let's talk about that real quick. You
Okay.
said you didn't make a lot, right?
Right.
3,200. What is a lot on making like a regular home, building it yourself?
I mean, building it yourself, I mean, on average, you can make anywhere from 40K to about 120K.
Yeah.
And that's on average, building the home yourself, implementing the exit strategy of either selling the home or you know, something like that. When we'll talk about fee building later, but as a fee builder, a lot of that money that you make as a fee builder is profit. And so when you're buying land and you're building your homes yourself, then that number will differentiate. It'll fluctuate up and down. So you make a minimum of 40, you can make a maximum of about 120 or more, depending on your market, depending on the size of the house, your finish out area, things like that.
So would you say, like, really just like a good question to ask that I'm thinking is, it seems like most people stop in the construction level of being like the glorified handyman,
Right.
you know, like, you know, I'll frame walls for you, I'll do this, and that's kind of where they stop at.
Right.
So if they've already got that like mind ticking in that direction, this would probably be something good for them because they're already throwing up walls, they're already sheetrock, and they're already putting in toilets and stuff. Why not just move it to a bigger level? So you would encourage the current construction guy to do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Number one, the benefit to that is they already have most of the knowledge that it takes to be able to get the house built. So keep in mind that what we're doing is we're not teaching anybody the physical hands-on, pick up a hammer, nail nails into some wood, or, you know, hang drywall or paint a wall. What we're doing is giving you the systematic processes on how to get a house built and teaching you how to project manage a new construction project and create an income-based business based around that.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, we'll never tell you, hey, nail this nail in here, do that. We're teaching you how to hire the trades that will do the work for you in a succession that will get your project built so that you can then take that project and use it as an investment to create income.
Got you. And I love that. So going back to what people may be thinking, what's unique about the gentleman builder versus someone like you just telling me how to sub stuff out? Like, why do I need you?
Because what I found out is when I built my first house, I didn't have any resources, right? I knew people in the industry. I knew people who were building houses. Nobody wanted to help me build my first house. Nobody wanted to give me that knowledge. And so I ended up building the house myself. And so the uniqueness about the gentleman builder is we're almost hand holding you to make sure you're a success. Like we're walking you through that process. So we're limiting your learning curve on learning how to build a house from the ground up, right? One of my mottos is it's not as hard as it looks, but it's not as easy as it seems. So most people think, oh yeah, I can build a house because so-and-so built a house, or I see this guy over here building a house, I can build a house. But what you don't understand is in between every phase of building a house, there are about 100 micro steps that have to be taken into account, things that you have to look for and things like that that people don't see when they walk into a house that's already built. And so from our standpoint, we want to make sure that we give you every opportunity to understand and know the knowledge of how that house is put together so that you don't fail on your first house, because your first house can make or break you.
Got you.
Like it will end your real estate career really quickly if you have a $300,000 loan from a bank and you can't produce a finished product. Right. That's the end game.
Yeah.
And so
that's big though. Because think about it. Look at the risk level.
Absolutely.
A $300,000 fail versus just like learning how to do it. And like what you said too, like when I said what makes you unique, right? Is, hey, we're just trying to give you guys the tools and the resources how to do this, because the first thing that I said is somebody could say, oh, you're just subbing out, right? But then when I think about when you said there's 100 different micro steps, it's like I don't know all the people for 100. I know the guy that can sheetrock, frame, put the toilet in, run electrical. That's about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And then within those processes, you also have to make sure if it's done right. So yeah, you might know a guy who can hang sheetrock.
Yeah.
But is he using all nails? Is he using all screws? Is he using the right size of sheetrock? Is he like, it's so.
And in inspections, if you've got a wood screw where the electrical is, it's like,
Absolutely. It's like, this guy, yeah, he said he could do it and he did it for a good price, but is it right?
yeah, so now it's more expensive.
Absolutely, because now it has to be redone. So those are the things that we teach you, right? Those are the things that we bring to the forefront of what it is that we offer as a educational platform and teaching people how to build from the ground up. Is how to limit your mistakes, how to go and look at every phase of those projects to make sure that the guys you are subbing out or that you're hiring is doing the work that's going to be allow you to be successful.
Got you. Yeah. Love it. So another thing too is like when someone starts building a home, they learn how to build a home, right?
Right.
The next thing that I start to think about is how do you get someone to trust you to build a home? I mean, it's a home. This is a big thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you get home number one?
I mean, home number one comes with, first and foremost, already established relationships, right? Everybody knows somebody that trusts in them to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of those things is when you're becoming a home builder, right? What you want to do is make sure that the people that already trust you and support you believe in what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's why for us at the Gentleman Builder, it's important for us to produce a viable brand that we know works, because referrals are key, right? Recommendations are key. So for somebody coming into the program, no, they may not have any experience, but if they say, listen, I have a uncle or aunt who trusted me, they believe in me, my mom, she's going to tell people what her child or what her niece or nephew are doing, right? And so that first home build is going to be more so built on a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you build and grow from there. So at that point, now you have something in your portfolio to say, hey, I built this house over here 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or I built it a year ago. Now you have something to show for it. And if it's a success, then that's a referral for yourself that you can now pass on to the next client and say, yes, I have experience in building a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 home. And this is how it turned out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
you
so
just
now
need that number one.
That's it. You just need that number one.
So you can show people, be
Absolutely.
like, I can do this. Because that's the first thing.
Proof of concept. Yep. That's it.
Would you say, though, when you start out, probably start with just like traditional, like one story or something versus trying to do like the moderns and all this stuff? Or does that not matter?
Man, you believe, like, you wouldn't believe, like, we have mentees and students that come through the program and they want to start off building like $1 million homes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to think about, on a smaller scale, if you have 100 micro steps in between each phase of a smaller 2,000 square foot home, think about how many other steps you have in a 5,000 square foot home, 6,000 square foot home.
Right.
So the detail becomes a little bit more, the processes become a little bit more, and things like that. So I usually tell my students, hey, start with a single family, 2,500 square feet. It doesn't matter if it's 1 story, 2 story, just understand the process first.
Right.
Because if you understand the process of a smaller house, then you can scale that to a larger house at any time. It's the same process.
Yeah.
It's just on a larger scale. So I usually tell them, like, start with a smaller house first, just to understand every process that goes into building a house.
Yeah.
And then you can go build anything.
Okay.
So
I like that. I like that. So this, in a sense, sounds like you're building a home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone says they want to start building a home. How do they earn money? Because they're now a builder, right? And what I'm thinking about is you got, all right, thinking from the handyman perspective, you got the person that, you know, literally like, this is how much they're going to charge for sheetrock. This is how much they're going to charge for paint, flooring. That's kind of where their mind is, right? If I do get a job from father-in-law, best friend, whatever, how do I see like the money that's made, or like what can I kind of expect?
So that's where part of that goes into what we mentioned earlier about being a fee builder, right? So when you're hired to build a house for someone, more than likely, if they're a client that's coming to you, they already have an idea of how they're going to get financing, what type of home they want built, and they already have an idea of either where, or they already have an idea of the lot that's already purchased for them to build on. So then at that point, the money that you make is coming from what you charge them as a builder to build that house, not necessarily the material costs or labor, just what you charge to be able to get the house built. Now, what we do as builders is we create a line item budget for each item, for each material cost, labor cost, and then we include that into the budget with our build fee on top of that.
Gotcha.
Right. So for instance, if you were building a house, you wanted me to build you a house. Well, I would give you that construction budget, but then included in that construction budget is my builder's overhead and profit fee. Right. You're bringing 100% of the financing. You're bringing, leveraging your bank, your bank relationships to get that financing. You already have the lot purchased or may not, or know what lot you are looking to purchase. And you're just coming to me to make sure it gets done.
Right.
And then that's where I'm making my money.
Got you.
So
as a fee builder, if I learn from you, I become a fee builder. I don't got to pay for I don't have to worry about any Home Depot Pro account and all this type of stuff. I'm just showing up and being organized, and make it sound a little bit more glorified too. Because the way I just saw it was like, I'm just showing up at 8 a.m. like, hey boss, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not so much of you just showing up. Like there are certain systematic processes that you need in place, like having a Home Depot account would benefit you. Having net 30 vendor accounts would benefit you, because what it does is it allows you to be able to streamline the process, right? So we have what's called a draw, right? And a draw is where we submit receipts and invoices to the bank or the lender to be able to receive money back, right? So a lot of times when we're building with individual clients who have their own money, they're giving us a percentage up front, right? So that may be 25%, might be 30%. That includes our retainer, and then it includes the first cost for getting the first parts of the house built, say, i.e. land clearing, grading, foundation materials, things like that. But in an instance that we don't get that initial retainer fee, where we don't get that initially, then what happens is we have to use our net 30 accounts, right? We have to order from the vendors who give us net 30 accounts, and then that has to be reimbursed at some point. Right. So it's not where you're just showing up saying, hey, I need you guys to pour the concrete, and then you go home. And like there's some systems that are involved that would benefit you as a builder, but those aren't anything that would put you at risk of having to spend your own money if they're set up properly.
Got you. And then to stay on that, because I really like this fee builder thing that you're talking about.
I swear to God, it's lovely.
It's lovely. You heard him. You said that with conviction.
Listen, I love being a fee builder.
Yeah. So let's just continue down this path, right? So you had told me on the pre-talk, right? Like you make cents on the dollar.
Absolutely.
Break that down, how that works.
Okay. So what that is, when we charge as a fee builder, there are two ways we can charge as a fee builder. We can charge a percentage on the total amount of the actual construction cost, or for some investors, we do what's called a flat fee build, which means based on whatever number, say the square footage, right, of the house, we'll charge them a flat fee, right? Because most people that we're building for are either investors, right? And then we have some retail clients who we're building for, they're going to live in the house or whatnot, right? But however you do it, it's going to be how you're setting the mark for what you make, profit and overhead. So for instance, say we have a house that's $200,000. Well, every dollar that's spent, we're going to charge 15 to 20 cents on every dollar.
So 15 to 20% on all $200,000.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Absolutely. So if they spend $10, we're charging them, I'll have to do the math, but we're charging them 15 cents on every dollar that they've just spent. So whatever that equates to.
About 1,500, I think. Let me.
Yeah, let's do the math, man. I don't.
We're not math people. I build funnels. People. He builds houses. Right. All right, hold on. So like if a house was, let's just say $20,000 worth of work times 0.015. Did that wrong again. So $20,000 times 15 cents. That's $3,000 just for
Just for
20,000 of work.
$20,000 of work. So now, if you think about, we're building homes, we're building homes with $800,000 budgets, $900,000 budgets.
Yeah,
right?
so a $200,000 worth of build is 40,000 to the fee builder, right there,
Absolutely.
just for doing the labor and work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Just for being a project manager
Yeah,
for that customer.
gotcha.
Right? Because keep in mind, you're not doing any of the physical work.
Gotcha.
These are all people that were hired to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You're just getting paid to project manage and make sure that the project is a success.
Got you.
So there's no risk involved because, again, your client is providing the financing from whatever financial resource they have, whether that be bank, hard money, cash, whatever. They're providing the money. So there's no money that you're spending out of pocket. And then when you do spend money, if you have to spend money, say, I want to order lumber materials or whatever, well, that's reimbursed through what we call a draw. So you get that money back. So at the end of the project, you should profit instead of lose.
Got you.
So
what type of experience would the customer feel versus using, a gentleman builder or someone that's came through your program and they're now their own fee builder versus like some company they call that just builds homes?
Same confidence.
Yeah.
The gentleman builder provides educational resources that's backed and proven, right? We have mentees and students that have gone through our program that have successful projects complete. They've built their own projects. We have a group of mentees right now that are going through the process of building a house that we've assigned to them to build. So they are learning these steps. So when they finish our program, they are certified that they came through the Gentleman Builder program, which gives any client the satisfaction or gives them an understanding that, hey, these guys know what they're doing, right? So they're okay. And then along with that, we do what's called a builder's guarantee with some of these clients, saying, hey, listen, if for whatever reason this student can't finish your project, or you hire this person to complete your project and they can't finish, we will come in and make sure that your project is complete, right? We don't allow anybody to lose money.
Right.
So
perfect. Okay. And then from education to actually active building, getting your first project,
right?
What's like the time? Like how long does it take to get the knowledge realistically?
Well, it works in two ways. If you're local to our area, we have a 16-week educational program.
4 months.
4 months, 120 days. That's our average time for building a house anyway, right? We average about 120 days on any new construction build based on the size, right?
Yeah.
Up to about 2,000 square feet, we can build in about 120 days. And so when you come through our program and you're local to the area, we send you through this 16-week intensive program where you meet with us on site twice a week on the assigned project that you've been assigned, and you walk through the process of getting that house built from dirt, right? So we call it from dirt to done, right? Where you come in, you understand why we chose this lot, you understand the next phases, everything that is entailed in getting the next phase complete through the 16-week program. If you're not local to our area, then we have an online platform where we walk you through the same processes as you would learn on site. It's just online. So the only thing that you don't receive is the online portion of the on-site being there twice a week, but all of the information is included in the online portal. So you can log in and you can read the literature, you can watch the videos and things like that, and be able to have access to the resources that we have to be able to tie everything in together so you get a better understanding.
Got you. So when building a house too, what is kind of like the harder parts of building a house that you think people don't think about, who think they're like, I can throw up a house because I can build some stuff?
Man, there's so many moving pieces to building a house. It's like, so when we teach students, right, one of the things that they don't understand is, for instance, the foundation of a house, the concrete slab part, right? People think that that's just concrete. And it's really not.
Because when they built my house, we're like, oh, they poured the concrete.
They poured the concrete.
I see the square.
Right. You see it, and you see, oh, okay, that's just concrete. But inside that concrete, there are specific materials that allow that concrete to perform as it should.
So it doesn't just crack.
Absolutely. Based on the specifications. Well, each piece of that has to be put together in a way that's conducive to the house not falling apart.
Right.
And people don't understand those steps and processes. So if you overlook one minor detail in that process, that could affect the rest of the house being built.
And that's the information that you give.
And that's the information we provide to give you an idea of, hey, this is what you need to look out for so that your roof doesn't blow off, or your house doesn't fall down, or you don't have leaks in your plumbing, or whatever the case may be. A lot of things that people don't see. When people walk into regular, already built houses, they're just looking like, oh man, this is a nice house. But you don't really know what it took to get that house put together.
Behind the walls.
Absolutely. What's behind the walls. And if you don't understand it, then you can have any Joe Blow come and say, hey, I did the plumbing right, and then your toilets don't flush.
Yeah.
So,
so let's talk about that. Any Joe Blow comes, the toilets don't flush. What about just the inspections that go along with this? Because someone's like, hey, I'm about to start building houses. I want to learn a high paid trade like this.
Absolutely.
But then now you're kind of fighting, because when you're in the contractor realm, you're more kind of like, hey, this is the job, I'm out. Right. So in homes and inspections, there may be, no, you got to come back out. Right. This isn't right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so the inspection process really just confirms that the work was done correctly. Right. And in different cities, different municipalities, and different regions, that inspection process could differ. Right. But the inspection process is there just to give validity to the work that was done, to make sure that when your plumber came out, he did the work right. This is what we're checking for: certain things to make sure there's no leaks, to make sure that the pipes are sloping correctly, to make sure that, everything is aligned within the walls correctly. And that will give you the go ahead for your next steps, knowing that, hey, it's been inspected by a city official, that this is what was required, this is what has been done, and this is what has been approved.
Got you. Another thing that I wanted to ask you as well is, like, I love results, right? And
Absolutely.
So could you just tell us about, like, just pick a student that you're just proud of, that, literally, like, took the information and executed?
Man, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
We have multiple students right now who, since beginning the course, are already embarking on their own projects. One student in particular, his name is Sam Patel, and Sam is a hotel guy. Sam is of Indian nationality, but he's a hotel guy. His family owns a chain of hotels, so he's not a guy who's new to real estate, but he's new to residential construction. And so he came and joined the Gentleman Builder Mentorship to learn how to build residential construction to add to his investment portfolio of rental properties. And so as of right now, man, Sam has taken what he's learned in the mentorship program, and he's already building his first set of duplexes in one of the suburban cities outside of Dallas. And, to have no residential construction experience, Sam is building based on what we've taught him, based on what he's learned in the mentorship. And he's not even calling us. He's just sending us pictures like, hey, got the foundation inspection today. Boom, pass, green tag. Got the foundation poured, green tag. Now we're on framing. So, like, literally, it kind of makes me proud. I'm like a proud dad because like I have this person who listened to everything that, was poured into him, and he's able to take that and create something for himself, which is the purpose of the Gentleman Builder and why the Gentleman Builder curriculum was created.
Got you.
Yeah.
And so then what route is usually like, from them just being like almost a developer versus like a fee builder looking for people that need homes? So almost like it sounds like Sam's doing his own projects. Right. You know what I mean? Versus being a fee builder.
Right.
So it's really just like, once they get the information, whichever path that they want to go on.
Absolutely. And so the great thing about having the skill set and the knowledge of knowing how to build is you can do a variety of things. So you can be a fee builder, right? Which, whether you're building custom homes or whether you're building affordable housing, you can be a fee builder. You can own a building company like myself. I have a company that we buy land, develop it, and we build houses. And so I'm now considered a home builder. So I can take the home building route where I'm not just a fee builder building for others, but I'm also building for myself, right? And then we can take the route of where we're builder investors, where we build homes and we rent them out, whether that's long-term, short-term rentals, or whatever the case may be. You can also take the route of where you're building for like a nonprofit, which is still a fee builder, but there's different ways you can approach that. Building for nonprofits, building for the city, building for, a number of organizations. And so there's a number of routes that you can take just because you have one skill set. And that's why I love building.
What would you say for someone, and this could be like, I don't know if this is, you would understand it. For some people, maybe it's like, oh, that's not possible. But like, what about when somebody wants to build like a neighborhood? How does that work?
Oh man, so that's more so on the development side. So development is a whole nother beast than just building residential new construction on what we call infill lots or rural developments. When you're building on subdivision, that's a whole,
because now you got to get streets.
Yeah, that's a whole nother beast. That's civil plans that have to be created. We have utilities that have to run in the entire subdivision. Like there's so much that goes into that's not something that I would even recommend anybody jumping directly into like right away. Like I've been building for about 8 years and we're just now getting into the development portion of real estate where we're buying land to develop.
Yeah.
Like, I would not recommend that.
I listened to a story on a guy that did it, and he was just saying like, even you got the land, right? You think about the build, but he was like, just the cost of building the street to the land. And then he had got a quote for the pavement. I guess it takes gasoline to create pavement or something. I don't know something, but that cost went up.
Oh yeah.
The whole street now it was just all those other expenses.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I can tell you about things like developments is like you're out of so much money up front before you even touch the dirt. Right? Like your plans sometimes to get civil work done just to get approved by the city is sometime upward 30,000, 40,000, 50,000.
Just for
for some paper to say, hey, this is what we plan to do. And then the city can even come back and say, no, change this, change this, change this. And then you have to go back, get that revised, which could or couldn't cost you more money. And this is before you even bought any dirt. Before you even moved any dirt.
Dang.
It's like, so yeah, I would not, I wouldn't tell anybody to go that development
So let's spin
route.
it back around then, right?
Yeah.
So development, of course, is further down the line. Right.
Correct.
How do they start? Do they just find a plot of land and like, because don't they still have to have these same type of paperwork and documents or explain that?
On just residential home building or residential development in what we call infill lots, which is usually a lot in a already established neighborhood, or it could be a rural area that is already parceled for one single home, right? And I think your question is asking me, how do they find that?
Like, how do they just get started? Because it's like, okay, I talked to a lady yesterday and she's like, I bought a plot of land for $10,000.
Right.
Wasn't nothing beautiful, but it's like a plot of land, and then I'm gonna build tiny homes on it. But like the difference from, like we said, the drastic difference from a subdivision versus someone just finds like a plot of land that's available.
Right. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been driving home, driving your kids to school, whatever, going to the grocery store and saw a vacant lot?
Yep.
That's a piece of land that can have a house built on it.
Because it's already permitted or zoned.
It's already what we call platted, which means it's already designated for either a single family, a duplex, or a multifamily. So when you go through building, right, each lot that you build on has a zoning requirement or zoning criteria, which means the city has designated this piece of property for a particular structure to be built on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether that's commercial, residential, whatever. What you have to do is understand what that zoning requirement is in that area. So it could be residential, could be, like I said, duplex, it could be multifamily. What you have to do is understand what you can build on it, and
Mm-hmm.
then that gives you an idea of, hey, I can build a duplex. All right, cool.
Traditionally, if you can build a single family home, could you build a duplex on it, but maybe not a multifamily?
It depends on the area.
Okay.
So I don't, and I can only speak about Texas where we are, right?
Yeah.
I can't speak about like Georgia or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Texas, you have some cities who have single family lots that will allow you to build a duplex on them. And then some areas you have single family lots that you can't build a duplex on. It has to be designated for duplex,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it really just depends on the area and that zoning requirement.
Got you.
Yeah.
And mainly with your students, you focus mainly on the single family, because I know multifamily, I'm thinking like apartment complexes.
Right. Multifamily is large scale apartments, anything above,
It's pretty much commercial.
5 doors. Like, right, we can build some townhomes, 4-unit townhomes on single family in Texas.
Yeah.
Right. So anything up to those 4 units is still considered technically single family.
Got
So
you.
if you find a lot that fits, then we build it. Like right now we have two townhome projects going on right now.
Mm.
So
Random question about Texas, because I always see the beautiful homes on Instagram of Texas.
yeah.
What do you guys kind of do to like get the price to shoot up, since you guys are all flat and don't have basements? Is that the high ceilings kind of like take over that, or?
Yeah, so you have to understand too that home prices is based on market. So where you guys build basements in your houses, our home values are based on houses built with no basements.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing that we're really technically doing to shoot the value up. It's just our home prices are our home prices based on the type of homes that we build.
Mm-hmm.
So out here, to probably get a higher price point, it would benefit somebody to have a basement because everybody looks for basements.
Right.
Well, in Texas, people don't look for basements. They
Got
look
you.
for things like high ceilings, 3-car garages,
Right.
acreage or something like that. And that's what designates that price, right?
Mhm.
But then you have some areas where the house is just in those areas where it would benefit me to sell a house at 500 because the rest of the house is selling at 500
Mhm.
versus me building this brand new house and selling at 300. Now I'm shooting myself in the foot. So it's just going to be determined by your market value.
Got you.
Pretty
And
much.
I guess another random question too is like, I'm thinking about the house, but
Right.
then I'm also thinking like, especially in Texas where it's hot, like what about just like pools and all of that stuff? Like where do those come in with just home building?
Man, believe it or not, from my understanding, I won't say I've never put a pool in,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never had an issue not selling a house with a pool. The pool that was put in didn't really increase the value. It was just
Okay.
an extra amenity that people like,
Yeah.
right? Because most times you have to think, yeah, pools are nice, but if the pool breaks down, then that's an extra cost that people have to think about when they're buying a house. And unless it's
Yeah.
one of those, large multi-million-dollar houses where pools are, an added amenity to make the house fit because you have this large house, then on 2,000 or 3,000 square foot, the pool is just one of those preference type of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I don't put pools in 3,000 square foot houses.
Yeah, that
Like,
makes sense. That makes sense. So I know I've been like picking your brain a lot because
Okay.
I've been learning myself, right?
Yeah, okay.
So now someone who is like, wow, this is great. Like, how do they just like tap in and get active with what you got going on? Because just from us talking, right, it sounded like there's an online version, but then there's also like hands-on option
Absolutely.
for like 6 weeks. Just kind of break that down. I'm gonna give you the floor. Because I've been picking your brain, so now it's your turn.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, the way we've set it up, man, we are really trying to give people the opportunity to learn how to build houses from the ground up anywhere they are, anywhere in the US. So for those that are local to our area in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you have the ability to join our 16-week mentorship program. And that walks you through A to Z on how to build a house, going from dirt to done. You get everything that we have to offer with our 16-week mentorship program, 2 on-site sessions per week. You have access to trades. Like we have just last week, our class last week before we flew here, we had our vendors come out. They're sharing discounts, giving, like, I think we had a vendor that gave everybody a $5,000 line of credit. Right. So those are things that you get, some of the added benefits you get for being in our local area. For those that are not in our local area, but they're still interested, we've developed a online course that's so comprehensive that we've built the course so that you don't have to necessarily be in our area to learn how to build a house. It's a step-by-step process on the same A to Z processes that gets houses built in Texas. The only thing that you have to understand is the requirements for your region on your GC certifications and some of the items that that municipality might require that's different from where we are in Texas. But everywhere you build a house is the exact same.
Yeah.
And so we've created a curriculum that will walk people through how to build a house from A to Z anywhere in America.
Was Sam in Texas, local?
Yeah, Sam is local. He's in Texas.
You.
But we have a guy, man, we just had a guy come through our 2-day workshop that's in Kansas City.
Okay.
And he's joined the mentorship program. So we're going to teach him how to build a house in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Another guy we had that's in Detroit. Same scenario. We're going to teach him how to build in Detroit. And so our goal is to create gentleman builder franchises in these areas where we can't physically be, but because we're giving you guys our systems, our processes, our understanding of building, the roadmap, you can then take that knowledge, create your own business behind the Gentleman Builder brand, which is a proven brand, a trusted brand. You can create your own business behind that brand and succeed in your area wherever you're at.
Why would I want to do the franchise versus just being my own builder developer?
Because number one, you're inheriting everything that comes along with the Gentleman Builder brand. The discounts, the vendor access, the resources, the financial backing, everything. So for somebody that's starting out, you may not have financial resources where you can go and get a construction loan. Well, we've already provided that for you. Like we already have banks that lend across the 50 states that we can connect you with and say, hey, they're part of the Gentleman Builder, right? So here's the discount that's passed on to you, right? And at the end of the day, it limits your learning curve to be part of our brand. We're a proven brand.
Yeah.
So when you take your when you go to Walmart, you know what Walmart sells.
Right.
I don't care where you are in America.
Yeah.
If you go to Walmart anywhere, you know you can get some bath towels at Walmart.
Yeah, 100%.
You know you can get a bar of soap at Walmart. And that's what the Gentleman brand is providing with the knowledge that we're teaching our students. If whether you're in Kansas City, you've been given the knowledge that's proven on how to get this process done to build a house. And that's what you're buying into. Like that's what we're providing for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah, I guess I'll just put all the links below for anyone that wants to do that. And who would you say, like, all the people that are watching, like, point out like who that person should be? Like, they're on the fence right now and you're like, I know that you could succeed in this.
Man, this is, man, for anybody. Like, we didn't really get into some of the community work that we do, but like the Gentleman Builder model is for any aspiring entrepreneur who, wants to change working a 9-to-5, right? Who wants to start creating an avenue for themselves of freedom.
Do they have to be hands-on? What if they're like, I'm not a hands-on person, I'm not good with tools?
Listen, man, we're trying to teach people how to build houses from cell phones.
Yeah.
Right. So don't necessarily have to be hands-on. Again, we're not teaching you the physical labor part of building a house. We're teaching you what goes into the physical labor so that you can successfully manage a project. Right. So any aspiring entrepreneur, we have a nonprofit that we have that is targeted toward people who are incarcerated, that are coming out of the system, being able to learn a trade and being able to be hired by us because they've went through our program. Now they've learned how to build a house, and now they can be a productive, pillar of the community, working for somebody else with a skilled trade. So, I mean, man, the Gentleman Builder program is for anybody that really wants to dive in and endeavor in a new journey of real estate investment, anything real estate, learning how to build a house, things like that. This is what this program is for. Anybody who's aspiring entrepreneur trying to change the outlook of their life to create freedom and some type of financial wealth for themselves.
Man, I love that so much. Yeah.
Man.
So before we wrap up, let them know where they can find you, like on IG, just to tap in. Of course, all the links for how you can enroll, how you can, get in touch with them will be below. But let them know your IG name, because I didn't say that earlier.
Absolutely. So you can find me on IG at gentleman builder with an A, not an E. So that's gentleman builder on IG. We have our YouTube channel, The Gentleman Builder, and you can follow us on Facebook at The Gentleman Builder page or the R Dyson Colley page.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, y'all. If y'all want to learn how to build a house from ground up, and let's make it even sound easier. If you want to learn a high-paying trade, especially if you're someone that's already dealing with building stuff, you already have the mindset for it, definitely tap in. But maybe you're not someone that's like super hands-on, and you've been in wholesaling before and you're kind of already in the real estate or housing market. Definitely tap in with my guy at the Gentleman Builder and learn another skill that can literally set you up so that you always have work. And until then, we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Absolutely.
Peace.
I appreciate it, my guy.